Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's the weekend, man. It's here. It's here. Be a nice chill stream today. Of course, we'll do what we always do. We'll do the news. We're going to play a little bit of Gwent, standalone Gwent today, and a little bit of Fall Guys, man. Just kind of chill out, have a nice, relaxing day, man. That's what it's going to be for us, all right? So, I don't know. I hope everybody's weekend's going well. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and jump into this video gaming news segment, yeah? And we'll work our way into some gameplay after that, all right? Hope everybody's doing good. Let's get it. Let's get over here. We already hit on PlayStation Summer Sale. If you're not aware, PlayStation is having a big sale right now. You can get a lot of PS4 and PS titles on sale on PlayStation's shop. So if you're interested in the market for some new titles, go take a look, okay? Stray Patch tidies up launch issues. Let's take a look. Most demanding PC game in terms of GPU power. Let's see what this is. Assassin's Creed Rift delayed until 2023. That's another Ubisoft game that's been delayed. We saw stuff yesterday in regards to Ubisoft titles that have been delayed or canceled. Another big name title that is delayed even further is the Avatar game. Avatar is not going to be coming out apparently until 2023 or 2024 even at this point. So, while as far as I'm concerned, I would much rather see games get pushed back than be released too early. It seems to be a trend with Ubisoft at this point to continually be delaying games. Even each individual title will get delayed numerous times before they come out, it seems like, at this point. You see it, Black Flag, the game, the pirate game that they're finally releasing, got delayed, I think, roughly 6 times before it finally got this final release date within a 4-year period. It's pretty rough. So I don't ever expect a developer to always hit their mark on game release dates or anything, but whenever a developer is consistently not hitting their mark and consistently delaying titles like this, even giving multiple delays for numerous individual titles, it starts making me wonder what's going on internally, you know? And don't take that the wrong way. I absolutely understand video game development is not an easy endeavor, okay? But seems like Ubisoft might have some internal issues. I'm not sure, but it seems like it. We have that up. We'll read about that. This is really cool. These framework PCs are very, very module. God, I can't talk this morning. Modular type laptops, right? I think the only thing they're really lacking at this point is figuring out a way to incorporate a nice way to put in graphics or incorporate graphics into the mix of the module framework that they have going on for these devices. For gamer, and it's a great way to reduce e-waste and things like that. But for a gamer in this type of device, you're basically just utilizing onboard graphics. And you need to have a dedicated graphics card if you're going to be a serious gamer. So for them to really get into the market for gamers, they're going to have to figure out a way to make it to where dedicated graphics cards can be thrown into the mix for these types of devices. But it's really cool nonetheless. Very cool. Neon White devs made their stupid really self something in the game. What is this? What is this? Okay, we'll read that. We'll skim that. We'll see what that's about. Final Fantasy VII Remake fans trade joy for despair over two different cloud collectibles. I've got to say, where I see Square Enix headed, personally, with their, and they've been very public about their direction moving forward on NFTs, blockchain, Web3, crypto based gaming, stuff like that. They are obviously into this whole. They really are into trying to mix all this in with collectibles and stuff too, right? We already read here recently where the NFTs that they are building up right now have to do with trading cards and stuff like that. So there's a physical collectible side to the NFT stuff as well. I feel like this is just another way that a developer is leaning on this following they have because they've got this brand, Final Fantasy, which so many people love. And they're really, really just banking on the idea of trying to suck as much money out of it as they can. And they're losing sight of continuing to make quality video games into this realm of just what can we do to make as much money as possible, suck as much money as possible out of consumers. They have changed from being that dev that so many of us grew up playing their games, loving their games, into just something different. They're not who they were, and you hate to see it, but it's not. It's a common thing nowadays. Unfortunately, it just is. We'll see what this is. We'll see what it is. Game Boy inspired handheld is a budget answer to. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. I'm not going to dive into this, but Samsung is going hard with promoting their gaming hub, which is being incorporated to all their new smart TV platforms. It's a way to basically seamlessly stream gaming. It incorporates the Xbox Game Pass and Nvidia subscription streaming services and all. I think it has Nvidia. I know for a fact it's got the Xbox stuff on there because that was the big collaboration they were doing. But Samsung is definitely incorporating gaming into their devices moving forward, with the gaming hub being a big part of that for their televisions. So I don't know. We've read about this previously. That's why I'm not going to dive into this article. If you're in the market for a TV, you like to game, maybe check it out. See if it's something that could be a piece of tech that you would get some benefit from in having in a TV moving forward. Maybe that would help you narrow down a device, a TV that you're looking to buy moving forward, potentially. Read about that yesterday. Yep. Ubisoft canceled Splinter Cell VR. We read about that yesterday as well. Guerrilla Games is shutting down online servers for 3 games. See what those are. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet leak reveals disappointing starter. I'm guessing starter Pokemon. Disappointing news about some missing Pokemon, or more specifically, some starters. Okay, let's see what's up. Apex Legends cheaters are kicking players out of games. Flipping cheaters, dude. All right, let's see what we got right here. Yeah, we know about. Again, if you're not aware, because of all the significant heat waves that have been kind of experienced across the globe right now, Nintendo recommends you not be playing the Switch in any kind of environment that is 35 degrees Celsius or higher. Valve recommends not playing the Steam Deck in any kind of environment that is 40 degrees Celsius or higher, okay? As a means to protect the device from any kinds of heat related issues, all right? Yeah, again, Mojang has come out and said that Minecraft will not incorporate NFTs and blockchain in any form or fashion within their game. I love it. Said it does not align with what their game is supposed to be about. Go one more page here. Yeah, we read about this about a week ago as well. Again, Nintendo has bought the animation studio Dynamo Pictures, which is now going to be deemed Nintendo Pictures moving forward. Looks like Gotham Knights prequel comic series revealed it. Was that Comic-Con? Yeah, that's cool. Okay, we'll take a quick look there. I'm not going to dive into this article. Saints Row preview, rising to the top requires starting from the bottom. They've revamped this entire series, starting with this new iteration here of what is being released very soon. It's been a while since a Saints Row game has come out. It's probably the time for it. What I've seen from the game doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but it's probably not a bad idea for them to have done what they've done here and tried to go ahead and refresh this series a bit. There are a lot of series out there that could probably take from the Saints Row book here, take a hard look at how long they've been doing the same exact thing in some of the series of games they've been making, and see what they could do about breaking it all down and starting fresh again. All right, let's go. Final Fantasy VII Remake fans trade joy for despair over two very different cloud collectibles. Square Enix has unveiled a slew of new Final Fantasy VII action figures, leaving the community on cloud 9 or in the Midgar slums, depending on which one you're talking about. First off, the goods. Soon, fans will be able to get an action figure of Final Fantasy VII Remake's Cloud and a dress from the infamous Honeybee Inn mission. That's sick. The mission involves Cloud cross-dressing so he can infiltrate a mansion where Tifa is being held. Some fans were cautious ahead of Final Fantasy VII Remake's launch as the original has become quite dated. Though fears were soon eased, while the Honeybee Inn is treated as a crude brothel in the original, what you get in Remake is a more inclusive cabaret nightclub. It's a real game highlight, leaving fans wanting Honeybee Inn-themed Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith collectibles ever since. Now the bad, Square Enix is also releasing a more retro-inspired action figure of Cloud that comes with an NFT. Yep. If you fancy forking out some extra dosh, the move comes in partnership with NFT Ecosystem Engine, which styles itself as a destination for eco-conscious blockchain users that is committed to carbon-neutral NFTs by 2030. The pre-order page for the new figurine also includes a caution before purchasing section that reminds potential buyers that you may lose access to the NFT digital certificate of authenticity and digital version of the figure if the engine services become unavailable in the future. In other words, prepare to get scammed. While it's not too surprising to see Square Enix turn one of its most recognizable figures into an NFT, it's long been something fans have objected to. Not only are there heaps of environmental concerns around NFTs, but Final Fantasy VII is packed with environmental themes and features a group of freedom fighters trying to take down a mega corporation that's killing the planet. One of Barrett's iconic lines was even turned into a meme after Square Enix president Yasuki Matsuda kicked off the year by expressing hope that NFTs and blockchain technology would become a major trend in the industry. Matsuda has held firm on that, though he recently said it was too early to make Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy-based blockchain games. Community outcry even prompted Final Fantasy XIV producer Naoki Yoshida to assure fans that there were no plans to introduce NFTs into the MMO. The new figures come as part of Final Fantasy VII's 25th anniversary, which also involved the reveal of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and a Crisis Core remaster in a stream just recently. Yeah, Square Enix is quickly becoming one of those big devs, man, that everything I read about them just makes me cringe, man. Feels bad. This Game Boy inspired handheld is a budget answer to modern day retro gaming. If you're a fan of all these new retro handhelds but don't quite have the budget for them, we might just have the thing for you today. RG Handhelds today revealed the Retro Pixel Pocket, a little Game Boy-esque machine with 4 buttons and a clear casing that is just what it says it is, pocket size. Console is being produced by modding website Funny Playing, and while it's still in the early stages of development, we can see the kind of aesthetic the company is going for just from the prototype RG Handhelds is showing off above. Retro Dodo has shared more details about the Game Boy Pocket inspired console, which takes inspiration from similar consoles like the Analog Pocket. This is what I was going to compare it to anyways. Analog Pocket is really cool. Retro Dodo believes the console is running on Android 7.1, which is an incredibly stable operating system, but the real selling point of the system is the price, which the producer is attempting to build the console as a sub $100 handheld. Wow! If that's not enough for you, here are the features and specs of the console. Console is due to launch in August or September, according to RG Handhelds. These projects can take time, and considering this could potentially emulate PlayStation games alongside Game Boy, Neo Geo, Game Gear, Mega Drive, and GBA games. Wowzers, dude. Look at this place. They're making some cool little things. Now, what we'll need to do is we need to dive into this a little bit further. Look, the Analog Pocket. This is the Analog Pocket, guys. The Analog Pocket is really, really cool. It plays actual cartridges, vintage cartridges, and it is. I mean, you can see it plays old, like original Game Boy games, Neo Geo, like all kinds of stuff. It's a very, very nice looking device. It's got bumper buttons on the back too. You can see them right here. Probably show you some. These are some adapters, so you can play some of the cartridges that don't fit into the slot on the back right out of the box. It's even a audio workstation. It's a synthesizer sequencer. This is a really cool little device. It's like $220 US though, which, in my opinion, for what it does, is not bad. It's also got a dock, just like the Nintendo Switch does, where you can hook it up to a TV. You can connect wireless controllers to it. It's a very, very, very cool device, man. I'll actually throw this in chat real quick. There you go. But this is a really cool site too, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they're coming up with here. I don't think that was it. Where's the clear case one? Look at these. They're making all kinds of stuff. Oh, that's very cool. It's very retro looking. They've got all kinds of stuff on here. I'm going to throw this in chat as well. I've never heard of this place. Looks pretty cool, though. Nice. Cool, cool. I'm going to actually, I'll probably bookmark that for us moving forward. Guerrilla Games is shutting down online servers for 3 games soon. If you're one of the few people still playing some Guerrilla Games' older Killzone games or Rigs, Mechanized Combat, your time spent with those games' online modes is now ticking. Guerrilla announced this week plans to shut down the online servers for Killzone Mercenary, Killzone Shadowfall, and Riggs Mechanized Combat on August 12th, a decision which will make it so that only the single-player modes of these games will be accessible from there on out. Guerrilla shared the news about the plans for these 3 games servers on Friday. Are you, is the question, buddy. Are you wearing a shirt? That's what I need to know. What's up, dude? Just checking. The online multiplayer modes present in the games will naturally be the largest area impacted by this change. Guerrilla confirmed that all online features overall will cease to function once that date rolls around. Of the 3 games, Killzone Mercenary was the first one to release. Yeah. In 2013, play on PlayStation Vita. 2 months afterwards, Killzone Shadowfall released in November 2013 for PS4, and Riggs Mechanized Combat League, most recent of the trio, launched in October of 2016. Server shutdown shouldn't really come as a surprise, given the ages of the games. Have been other indications within the past year or so that suggested this sort of thing might happen. While people at one point were hopeful for a new Killzone game following the launch of PS5, those hopes were dampened in early 2021 when official Killzone site was retired and would instead redirect to the PlayStation site. Of course, Guerrilla could always surprise PS fans with a new Killzone game now that Horizon Forbidden West is up and out while still getting the occasional update. But prospects don't look great given what we've seen transpire in the past year. Yeah, Square Enix, dude, just more and more and more sounds like just another example of one of those developers that I have grown up with, grown up loving, and has turned into something that I am starting to absolutely despise. You know, sounds everything I come across about them nowadays is just like, just tastes bad. You know, just tastes bad, dude. Yo, by the way, I'll see if I can get something done today with what you DM'd me about. I've been a bit busy here lately, man. But I might have some time tonight to try to get something quick created and hooked up for what you DM'd me about the other day. Okay. Um, Yo, I've got something coming up next about Apex Legends. I don't know if you heard, but I've got something coming. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet leak reveals disappointing news about starters. A new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet leak has some disappointing news about some missing Pokemon, or more specifically, some starters from previous games that will be missing from the new Switch. Switch Lite and Switch OLED games. With Pokemon Sword and Shield, Game Freak got rid of the national dex, drastically shrinking the number of Pokemon that could be caught. As you would expect, this created substantial controversy and backlash. But the decision has not been reverted with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The upcoming Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will be missing some Pokemon, including some starters. Yeah, it's going to kick you out of the game. Yeah, dude. If you're a fan of Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott, or any of their evolutions, you'll be disappointed to know they are apparently not in the game. For those that don't know, these are the 3 starters of Gen 5, aka Black and White. They are far from the most popular set of starters, but players are nonetheless disappointed to hear they won't be in the game in any capacity. The absence of the Gen 5 starters opens the door for other starters from the generations to be missing, but right now the leak only mentions Gen 5. Of course, Gen 5 is the next pair of games up for a remaster remake after Diamond and Pearl got their re-release treatment last year. As a result, we could see fewer Gen 5 Pokemon in general going forward, but for now, this is just speculation. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are set to release worldwide on November 18th on Switch, basically all the Switch versions. For more coverage on not just the November-bound Switch games, but all other things Pokemon, click here. Looks like your starters for Scarlet and Violet are either going to be Sprigatito, the grass cat Pokemon, Fukoko, the fire croc Pokemon, or Quaxley, the duckling Pokemon. But where's Psyduck? All right, there you go. Pokemon fans in an uproar, man. Here you go. Here you go, buddy. Apex Legends cheaters are kicking players out of games. After Apex Legends Xbox servers reportedly kept crashing due to exploits earlier this year, players have spotted yet another problem plaguing the Battle Royale shooter. This news was first spotted by Charlie Intel, which points to the experience of Apex Legends streamer Cams. According to Cams, she was randomly booted from a game and spawned in the firing range with another player, who then proceeded to simply type "owned" to her. Other players are reporting similar experiences when they're removed from games or disconnected from the server, even though other players remain. Needless to say, this is frustrating to say the least, and players aren't happy about it. Imagine this. Yeah, yeah. EA's response hasn't exactly been superlative. Uh, An EA customer support tweet simply advises cams to report the bug via the official Apex Legends forums, and the response to that tweet from players is about what you'd expect, namely derision, and skepticism that EA is even listening. Of course, players need to report bugs before EA can act on them, so let's hope that Respawn and EA can fix this problem before it becomes endemic and starts ruining Apex Legends players' games en masse. Respawn doesn't have the best history when it comes to exploits. Respawn's efforts have been beset by hackers and cheaters in the past, so this exploit isn't entirely unexpected. Back in February this year, an Apex Legends hack allowed cheaters to dual-wield weapons to devastating effect. Back in October last year, the game struggled with hackers repeatedly breaching Apex Legends accounts. Sometimes hacks completely disable the ability to play the game, as was the case with 2021's Save Titanfall campaign. Of course, it's not just Apex Legends either. Titanfall has struggled with its fair share of exploits too, including a particularly nasty one identified last year that thankfully only had the ability to crash servers and couldn't execute malicious code on your machine. We'll have to wait and see how EA and Respawn intend to address this newly discovered Apex Legends exploit. In the meantime, you can play Apex Legends for free right now. Yeah. Alright, dude. Simply said, owned. Alright. I mean, any developer of online games, especially live service competitive multiplayer games, is constantly fighting a fight of it's a back and forth battle. Dual wield weapons. That's what I was thinking too. Wick. Yeah, that'd be wild in a game like that. Yeah. Um, it's constantly a back and forth battle of trying to prevent cheating and exploitation and things like that. But there are obviously companies that are notable for doing a better job at preventing exploiting and hacking and cheating overall. They, I guess, would be more proactive, better at being proactive. And then you've got companies that are more notable for playing more of a reactive role in that capacity. And you absolutely want a company, a developer that's going to be proactive in that endeavor and is doing a really good job at preventing things from happening, which they're not going to get as many kudos, right? Because you're not hearing about it. Yeah, it's just the game runs. You don't deal with cheaters and stuff, so they're not getting as many kudos or accolades for prevention because you don't hear about things happening in the game because they're keeping things out of it, right? But it's always a fight. It's always a fight. Gotham Knights prequel comic series revealed at Comic-Con 2022. Publisher DC Comics has officially announced Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City, a 6-issue limited comic series that serves as a prequel to the events of Gotham Knights. If you are somehow not familiar, Gotham Knights is an upcoming video game from Warner Bros. Games and WB Games Montreal that sees Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood step up to protect Gotham in the wake of Batman's death. The announcement of Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City took place during the Gotham Publishing panel at San Diego Comic-Con 2022. According to the announcement, the prequel series is written by Evan Narcisse. I probably butchered that. With art by Abel. The first issue will release both physically and digitally on October 25th, which coincides with the release of the Gotham Knights video game as well. A hardcover collection of all 6 issues is set to launch on July 25th, 2023. In Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City, a mysterious virus has infected Gotham City, turning its victims into rabid, yellow-irised maniacs driven to looting, theft, and bursts of anger. Batman, in his final case before his death, and his Gotham Knights struggle to keep this strange virus contained while investigating its origins. Each issue of Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City will include a digital code redeemable for an in-game item within Gotham Knights. For example, the first issue contains a code for the exclusive Bosto 22 Batcycle skin. Collecting all 6 also earns a separate 7th item. Check out the official cover for the first issue of Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City for yourself below. As noted above, the first issue of the 6-issue monthly limited series Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City set to release on October 25th. Gotham Knights itself is also set to release for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on October 25th. Remember, it was initially slated to release on previous gen consoles, but that was taken off the table a few months ago. Also, different versions of pre-order. Yeah. Here, I'll throw this in chat real quick in case you guys are interested. Gamer. All good, buddy. It's good to see you. Good morning, man. Describing Fortnite. Never hear about any cheaters there. If you're being serious, I mean, I don't play Fortnite, but I have heard of people I have heard of people cheating in Fortnite, but getting wrecked for cheating in Fortnite. So that's also a big thing to distinguish there in regards to what we were talking about, right? There are also developers who have really good software incorporated, whether it be server-side or client-side software. Usually server-side does a better job than client-side, but there are developers that are really good at finding those players that are using hacking software, third-party software to inject into the code and alter things in the game. And I have seen where people will hack in Fortnite, but they get wrecked for it. Their accounts get banned and stuff. So I have seen it, but I think that it's handled in a much more direct, much more timely fashion than in a game like Apex. Stray patch tidies up launch issues. And again, that's just what I've perceived because I don't play the game. And a lot of what I'm throwing out there is just from what I've gathered over my time of information gathering and that subject matter that I've been exposed to. So that's it. Stray patch tidies up launch issues. Launch issues and collision fixes are being addressed. Stray has received a second update which fixes some issues and adds features that fans of the game have been asking for. In the patch notes, it is noted that additional full screen options have been added, including, quote, proper exclusive full screen support, as well as an engine fix for some users unable to boot due to GPU driver issues. Players had been finding ways to take their furry friend out of bounds, with some even falling straight through the map, so collision fixes have been implemented in order to prevent going out of the world. An uncapped frame rate option was confusing fans as it was to the leftmost side of the scroller. That's now been moved all the way to the right to place it in the logical order. The scratch trophy wasn't always triggering for those playing on keyboard and mouse, so fixes have been added for this, as well as localization fixes for German players. The final additions are some checks to ensure VR headsets don't interfere with the game. Second patch will no doubt be welcomed by those enjoying the game but experiencing issues. But according to this Reddit thread, the biggest problem affecting gamers currently is that the world and environments are so complex that a stutter is happening where systems are having shader compilation issues. Shader compilation is the process by which shading language scripts are loaded into the game to be used as shaders. Annapurna Interactive's newest game, Stray, has been taking the internet by storm with a dedicated Twitter page being set up to showcase real-life cats' reactions to the tiny ginger feline protagonist. In its first day, it had already smashed Annapurna's previous records for the most people concurrently in game on Steam. Yeah. It seems to be all around a really cool experience, man. I would really like to check it out. This is the most demanding PC game in terms of GPU power, and for a long time it had no graphics. Takes around $150,000 worth of graphics cards to run AI Dungeon's most powerful language model, but you won't need a GPU when it's released on Steam. Takes a whole lot of GPU power to run today's most powerful AI models. Even the most extreme gaming PC build won't be able to handle the kind of oomph needed to get the best AI dungeon models up and running. In order for Latitude to power what's essentially this less numbers heavy, more free and creative online D&D campaign, you need something truly beastly. According to Nick Walton, the CEO of Latitude and the software engineer who helped design the initial code for the D&D inspired story generator, if you want to run the largest AI for AI dungeon, you would need not just a high-powered GPU, but a cluster of 8 or 16 massive high-powered GPUs. Even those would need to be more powerful than the best graphics cards on the consumer market. Jeez, dude. Language models such as AI Dungeons Dragon Experience, based on the 178 billion parameter Jurassic 1 jumbo language model developed by AI21, need a huge level of computing power to recognize and recall important story elements and utilize complex writing styles. Nick pointed me towards the DGX Station A100 as reference for the kind of machines Latitude uses to power the game's more intense AI models. It's a computing monster, even with just 4 of NVIDIA's $10,000 A100 GPUs, the first and essentially the most powerful and pure graphics cards to surface. For machines like the DGX Station with, say, 8 top-of-the-line A100 GPUs jammed in, you're looking at around $150,000 in upfront tech costs. That's just to run the most advanced AI alone. The company has several other AI models it needs to run simultaneously for your dungeoning pleasure. That's one reason the company uses AI service providers, and even those have had a hard time getting hold of GPUs recently. Obviously, there's a huge energy cost associated with running an AI business like this one too. Nick tells me at one point that the company was spending almost as much on running the machines as they were on payroll for the 16-person team. That's including the higher-ups. Adding to those energy costs is the game's AI image tool, which at the start of the week, Latitude made the decision to roll out for free to all players. Nick was able to clear up how it worked for us. He says the catalog of tens of thousands of images is pre-generated. Each one is captioned and then matched with stories as they're being played. Rather than them being generated on the fly, he makes it clear that generating images during gameplay isn't really viable for an operation like this, but that the AI models behind the process are smart enough to know it can get away with matching an image captioned mountain forest with castle to a story in which a medieval kingdom is mentioned. Nick also laments that working with AI can be super challenging. Controlling what the AI says in order to stop it from going rogue is difficult, since AI can sometimes be like an unruly toddler. You can kind of influence it in the right direction, but sometimes if you give it instructions to not do something, you've now primed its brain and it's probably going to do that thing. Thankfully, the team is working on optimizations for not only making their AI more efficient, but also for keeping it in check. That's all going to become more important as the game rolls out on Steam next week, July 28th. Really? Fraser believes that video games need more dungeon masters, and Nick is inclined to agree. In fact, it was his fascination with the freedom and linearity of Dungeons and Dragons that led him to create AI Dungeon. Nick really exudes a passion for AI storytelling, believing that this kind of tech will change the storytelling landscape in two major ways. First, AI is going to enable experiences that have freedom and dynamicness that has never been possible before. He speaks of just how many people have completed those same quests in World of Warcraft, for example, and how it's boring to knowing other people are doing the same thing you are. I want to play an experience where I go to this small town, I go through all these unique events that no one's gone through before, and end up the hero of the town, Nick says. Maybe no other player in the whole game cares about that town, but I do. It's where I've had all these cool experiences that were unique and where I had the freedom to decide where the story goes. It's not just a unique experience that AI storytelling offers. The second thing I think is really powerful, says Nick, is AI's ability to enable an entirely new massive generation of creators, enabling every person to be a creative director of their own experience. Nick is convinced creators will one day be able to orchestrate their creative visions, bringing them to life through the power of AI. Honestly, that's a much nicer take on the future of AI than most people have, so I appreciate it. It's exciting to watch companies like Latitude expand and evolve along with something I'm so fiercely passionate about. Emergent storytelling. And I'm sure the Steam launch is going to be a success, so get AI Dungeon on your wish list because boy, are you in for a ride. Emergent storytelling. This is, look, and I'll tell you why this is something that is, I think, going to be, just in general, emergent storytelling, AI generated stories, AI generated quests. Um, the reason that, I mean, just ultimately, what this does is provides basically endless possibilities for replayability, right? First and foremost, if you find a game that you really, really enjoy the overall aesthetic and environment universe of that game, your ability to take that game, the replayability of it, say a game like Witcher 3 that we're playing right now, if it had emergent storytelling, the quests that were given were done in a way that were generated as you played through the game. It was generated by AI or whatever. You know what I mean? Then it's always going to be something different. Yeah. I will also say that one of the reasons this is very, very intriguing to myself, and I think to a lot of other content creators and streamers, is because it will eliminate the ability for people to spoil. It eliminates the ability for people to spoil, right? Because anytime you play a game, even if somebody else has already played it, if it is procedurally generated storylines created by AI, nobody else has really ever done it. It's going to be a unique story for you as you're playing through it. So you're not really going to have to worry about people going and spoiling what you're going to experience, right? Because that's always something that kind of sucks when you're playing through a game as a content creator. And I even have an amazing community here that is very, very good about not doing that. But you always run the risk of people just coming in and just blurting out stuff, and it feels bad when it happens. But this is really, really cool. Now, AI Dungeon. Let's check out AI Dungeon here. Hmm. This is cool. I feel like Pinky might have shown this to me at one point on their actual website or something. I think that Pinky might have shown this to me. But who know, we might play some of this. Just a text-based adventure. Pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I'll actually see here. Bump ba bump ba bump ba ba da da dum. If you're interested, there's AI Dungeon on Steam. Okay, that's really cool. It's really cool. Assassin's Creed Rift reportedly delayed until 2023. Ubisoft's release schedule has become even more sparse. We read yesterday where they had already come out and been like, we're canceling numerous games, we're delaying numerous games. Uh, Here's more. Ubisoft has reportedly delayed the release of the next Assassin's Creed, codenamed Rift, to a release date in the middle of 2023. During Ubisoft's quarterly earnings call, the company announced a delay to the upcoming Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, along with a smaller unannounced premium game. This game is reportedly the smaller stealth-focused Assassin's Creed Rift, which, although unannounced, has been widely reported to be set in Baghdad. Rift was originally intended to be an expansion for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but was eventually spun out into its own project. According to Bloomberg sources, Rift is being developed by Ubisoft Bordeaux, who has asked for more time as the project is running behind schedule. As for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, it was originally meant to release alongside James Cameron's Avatar The Way of Water in December, but will instead be released in. This is how far off they are. This game has been in development for a while, too, by the way. The new Avatar game has been in development for a while. And while Ubisoft hasn't gone to the extent of giving definitive release dates and pushing back to the extent of what we saw with Black Flag, they've still kind of been roughly doing the same thing with Avatar. Um, this is how far off they are, though. It's like they were trying to get this out in December of this year, and now they're going either 2023 or 2024. That's very vague. That's very vague. That means I am taking that to mean that they are not even close. They are not remotely close to where this game needs to be for a decent release. Um, Also announced during Ubisoft's quarterly earnings call was the cancellation of Ghost Recon Frontline and Splinter Cell VR. This was reportedly done as Ubisoft undergoes sizable cost optimization so the company can redirect resources towards its biggest development opportunities. This delay has resulted in Ubisoft's release schedule being quite thin for the winter months, with only Mario Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, and Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones. That's what it is, not Black Flag. Releasing in October and November, respectively. Other Ubisoft titles, such as the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, have been delayed. Prince of Persia has undergone a developer change as Ubisoft Montreal has taken over from Ubisoft Pune, and Ubisoft Mumbai. Yo, random mode time. Oh, sick. That's a good emote too. In other news, yeah, whatever. What is that? Mecha Robot? I don't think I've ever gotten that one. It's random emote time, guys. Looking for that gay pride emote. Um, Last article I have, read a bit here about the developers of Neon White. Okay, Neon White looks amazing. I'm planning on trying it out sometime in the near future. Um, we are just so wrapped up in Witcher 3 right now. that I don't know when that'll happen. But our buddy Pinky has told us that the game is very good. We were very interested when we saw it in the Summer Games showcase. And hopefully we'll get to it at some point before too long. But this is what I've got to end today with. If anybody is hanging out in chat and has anything they want to add to the segment for today, please let me know. I'll address before we move on to our Gwent and Fall Guys content, gaming content for the day, okay? Ben Esposito was tired of wholesome video games. Enter Neon White. I wanted to do something that was just stupid and over the top and really self-indulgent, says the game's creator. Leap, dash, shuffle, bounce off an inky balloon-shaped demon and leap again, plummet, grapple, and of course shoot. These are the verbs animating Neon White, a fast-paced first-person shooter that wants to make speedrunners out of all of us, and the latest genre-bending title from the mind of Los Angeles-based indie developer Ben Esposito. After working at developer Giant Sparrow and indie darlings such as The Unfinished Swan and What Remains of Edith Finch, Esposito would go on to create Donut County, an indie success story if there ever was one, released by art house indie game publisher Annapurna Interactive in 2018. Annapurna Interactive is the company that just released Stray. The game about raccoon app developers swallowing up Los Angeles with a hole in the ground caught the current of mainstream success. While Esposito had been the sole developer of a few interactive music videos and saw some success with his 2016 Furby survival horror game Tattletale, Donut County was different. Esposito was the sole name behind a game that would break out of the indie sphere and into the spotlight of the larger gaming world. Its single mechanic moving around an ever-growing hole, coupled with a charming lo-fi art style, made the game approachable and easily adaptable across devices. Neon White isn't trying to copy that success. It's not even trying to appeal to everyone. It's a hyper-specific yet hard-to-categorize project that struts around wearing its inspirations on its sleeve. Don't like it? Too bad. In Neon White, you play as a damned soul, White, competing with your fellow Hellspawn for a chance at penance. White is joined by some old friends, members of a mercenary group who died in a heist gone wrong. Together again, they can fight through heaven, slashing and shooting the demons infesting it, and trying to kill each other again at breakneck speeds. Upon beating a level, you're awarded a medal ranging from bronze to ace. Achieve an ace runtime, and you'll unlock a leaderboard of the fastest times of other players. Maybe someone got the jump a half second before you could, or maybe someone's halved your time with a shortcut you didn't know about. Beat a level fast enough, and you may unlock the secret red ace medal. That feeling of wanting to shave fractions of a second off your time is the game's real origin. Building Neon White's first prototype was a reprieve for the developer, something he said he had just had to get out of his system in 2017 while working on Donut County's more casual, puzzle-focused gameplay. After that title shipped, Esposito returned to the shelved Neon White prototype with fresh eyes. The roguelike deck builder Slay the Spire released around that time, inspiring a wave of indie developers to mix card-based mechanics with other genres, leading to previously unheard-of combinations. Esposito was among that crowd, but it took a while to strike gold. Quote, I was working on that for a month or so, then I almost gave up on it, he said. Randomly getting weapons dealt to you is not fun at all, it turns out. What saved the project was competition. Esposito dropped the randomized deck approach in favor of looting enemies for cards, which opened up new possibilities for level design. In Neon White, each card represents a weapon that, when discarded, activates a movement ability. Double jump, dash, grapple, and so on. Stringing these together in succession while picking up new cards from fallen foes is the second to second objective of any given level. Building levels around specific cards and combos allows for more interesting challenges for both developer and player, but what really kept Esposito engaged was a message from a friend who demoed the project. Here's how long it took me to beat this level. Esposito thought, I could do better than that. Development picked up in earnest in 2019, and this time around, Esposito wasn't going it alone. Working with a group of indie developers gathered under the name Angel Matrix, the first of many nods to 90s anime, Esposito and his team began working on what would become over 100 levels of platforming, shooting, and storytelling. Going into development for Neon White, Esposito decided to forego any assumptions about what a good fast-paced first-person shooter could be. That approach would lead to a tangle of design decisions that together created the genre-defying experience at the core of Neon White. For instance, including a player's gun in the on-screen user interface wasn't essential to Neon White's gameplay, so they got rid of it. Just one break with convention that had cascading effects. With no physical presence of the player character's body on screen, the developers found there was no concept of actions taking time through animations. When players lacked that reference point, the idea of carrying 3 of the same light machine guns as you jumped off a waterfall didn't seem quite so bizarre. Those early choices to not beholden to FPS conventions. Those are the things that I learned early on that I was able to bring to this and make something that was weird and counterintuitive, Esposito said. Neon White doesn't share many similarities with the most popular games in Esposito's portfolio. Games like What Remains of Edith Finch are labeled walking simulators for their slow pace, with a narrative experience unfolding largely around the player. Walking is slow. Neon White wants you to be constantly thinking of how to be faster. But Esposito explained that fast is a relative feeling, ultimately an effect of what the player has the options to do. In Neon White, each level has an obvious path available to players, but to improve their runtimes, players are encouraged to break the level in the same way that speedrunners do, finding new routes or using the cards they are dealt in seemingly unintuitive ways. It's not about moments of extremely high speeds. It's about feeling like you can always be going a little bit faster at any given point in the level, he said. Though Neon White has been a critical success, many have recoiled at its bombastic and hypersexual writing. But Esposito said he just didn't want to do a wholesome thing again. I wanted to do something that was just stupid and over the top and really self-indulgent. Luckily, he had some of the best people on hand to make an uncouth, anime-fueled assault on all things holy. Visual novel developer VB, animator Ryan Shannon, and Geneva Hodgson, character designer, co-creator, and Esposito's wife. Together, the group made a character-driven crime drama about explosions, sex, and dead gods. It's wacky, he acknowledged with a laugh. The story breaks also serve as a reprieve from the game itself, a chance to slow down and recoup before setting off again on another string of levels at even faster speeds. That juxtaposition is stark, and intentionally so, something Esposito said he learned from the late 90s Japanese import games that he had pre-rendered cutscenes in fast video game. Ultimately, though, Esposito wasn't concerned about cohesion between the story and gameplay. Ludonarrative dissonance, he said, referring to a line of critiquing game studies that highlights gaps between gameplay and narrative. Awesome. I don't give a crap. Neon White's popularity came as a surprise to the team. The game is a pastiche of early 2000s video games and anime, featuring the voice of Steve Blum, best known for his portrayal of Spike Lee in the English dub of Cowboy Bebop, a staple of Adult Swim and its Toonami programming block since the series premiered in the US in 2001. If you weren't there or haven't read up on the lineage of Counter-Strike, Source, and Trigun's influence, Neon White can appear inimical. Esposito gets that. Sometimes when people don't get what we're trying to do, I just think, oh, you haven't played enough localized mid-budget PS Vita games. The team stilled itself for rejection. We thought we were like, screw the awards. We're just going to make something that feels cool and fun, Esposito said. But it was totally the opposite. People get it. They talk about the ways that, even though it's counterintuitive, it works together. So we're just shocked, to be honest. It's very cool. Unlike White, Esposito isn't trying to come off as a suave action hero. You don't get a game like Neon White by trying to be cool or trying to design something with the goal of making it cool. It's a passion project through and through. From level design to character writing to thematic through lines. As Esposito would put it, it's purely vibes-based ultimately. That's awesome. Indie devs, dude. That was a really good article. It was long, but it was a really good article to end the news segment on. Indie developers making games because they are passionate about what they love to do and because they're gamers too, man. This is where so many of these big developers have lost touch, man. Then they've lost a lot of us over the years because they've forgotten, man, what it's about. Whereas, fortunately, we can always count on there being some great indie developers out there that are creating games that we love because they are lovers of games themselves and they want us to be able to experience their passion. And this is just another prime example, man. Another prime example. So thank you, Ben Esposito, and all the other individuals that worked on Neon White for bringing us another fantastic indie game. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think that's all we've got, guys. That's all we've got for July 23rd's edition of Video Gaming News. If you are checking this out on YouTube and you're enjoying the content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and potentially leave me a comment so we can have some discussion regarding some of the articles we went over today, okay? Also, see what you can do about coming and hanging out with us at 6 o'clock a.m. CST, where we start off every single stream with video gaming news. Okay? Other than that, just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see everybody tomorrow for July 24th edition of Video Gaming News.